Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot and Media. Investigators from the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime CTOC Division have laid charges against a second Romanian linked to a major ATM racket in the local financial sector. More from Simone Golding.
Daniel Situ was charged yesterday with breaches of the Law Reform Act and the Cyber Crimes Act. He was charged jointly with Andre Sterling, a resident of Portmore, St. Catherine. The two men were held on Tuesday making illegal withdrawals from an ATM at the Pavilion Mall in St. Andrew. CTOC said the men had rigged the machine. The police revealed that they seized $150,000, 20 fraudulent cards, and several ATM receipts showing withdrawals. They also raided Mr. Situ's rented premises and seized additional cards and other documents. The men are booked to appear in court next week. Meanwhile, Claudio Precop, the first Romanian national captured by the police, was further remanded when he appeared before the St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday. Mr. Precop, who was charged last week during an operation by CTOC, was remanded until April 27. Investigators say he was held in possession of more than 100 blank ATM cards. The cops say the Romanian scamming network operating in Jamaica has been installing devices in ATMs capturing the personal information of cardholders. ATMs in the corporate area have been targeted, particularly Upper St. Andrew, Montego Bay, and St. Anne. More than $50 million has been stolen from ATMs since January, and cops say the foreigners have been transferring the stolen money out of Jamaica through the remittance service. Simone Golding reporting for TVJ News.
Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says property tax collections for the last fiscal year are at an all-time high. $7.61 billion was collected, $350 million more than target. Mr. McKenzie attributed the success to the taxmobile.
Within that 2-month period that the taxmobile went on the road, they collected in excess of $40 million. They could have collected more because we have lost close to $10 million in revenue in raw cash that the taxmobile over the period that it was on the road could not collect because there was no provision for cash collections to be made in the taxmobile.
Shortfall will be addressed and at least one more taxmobile will be bought to further increase property tax collections. Meanwhile, with Manchester, Clarendon and St. Elizabeth having the lowest property tax collection rates, the local government minister says those parishes will be targeted through a public education campaign. It will start with St. Elizabeth on Monday, where parish-wide meetings will culminate with a town hall meeting involving representatives from the Jamaica Public Service and the National Solid Waste Management Authority. And the NSWMA's Executive Director, Audley Gordon, outlined a plan to cut operational costs at the state-run entity. Mr. Gordon wants to create what he calls a composting language to target schools, churches, and communities and increase public awareness about the benefits of the practice.
We note that over 50% of what we collect are compostable, and so we will be moving decisively to get householders across Jamaica into the habit, the discipline of composting, where they can use back most of what they're putting out. Because if our average is true, which we want to rely on those figures, most of what is put to the dump or to the trucks when they come could have been used back into your kitchen garden and your farms and all that.
Jamaica has earned over $2.2 billion in passenger aviation service charges and over $2.1 billion in air navigation fees. That announcement was made by Transport Minister Mike Henry during Wednesday's tour of the Norman Manley International Airport. He said projects are ongoing for the air traffic and navigation systems. By the end of this year, the country should be using new technology to improve efficiency in that area.
Of the country. As we increase the capacity of our air transport sector, we do so fairly and fully recognizing that the important element of it lies very much in an open skies approach to how we move people across the globe. In that context, we don't see things in competitive element locally. We see them integrated into a multimodal form of transport that facilitates the development of the movement of cargo and passengers across the globe.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government is working to increase the number of visitors to the island.
When we do the developments as it relates to our home porting for cruise shipping in Kingston, the redevelopment of Port Royal, the development of our government campus, our new parliament, and our new museum, which will become attractions in and of itself. Several new hotels are being built in Kingston. Kingston will become a destination. We have plans for the redevelopment of our waterfront and our skyline to make Kingston into the true center city of the Caribbean, the place of lifestyle, of culture, of technology, of innovation. We are going to make Kingston into the city of the Caribbean, where people will want to come. Norman Manley will be bursting at its seams.
Members of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, are being cautioned to stick to the principles under which the association was formed. Details from Simone Golding.
While addressing the opening of the JTA's annual education conference recently, President of the association, Howard Isaacs, said that members need to be guided by a certain type of behavior.
Our forefathers, when they established the JTA, itemized categorically where they wanted the association to go. And quite early in the objectives that they established, they said that we should be developing professional, ethical, and moral standards.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of Education International, Fred Van Leuven, says teachers should view the profession as their most valuable asset. He says members who have this point of view will realize their democratic ideals and aspirations. The General Secretary also noted that although education has been propelled to the top of the international agenda, it should not be viewed solely as just a commodity.
If investments in our school systems are solely or predominantly driven by the desire to boost our economies and to satisfy markets, we need to be cautious. Education is a public good. The values of public education are essentially the values that underpin democracy as well as our prosperity. It's not just an instrument to promote economic growth.
The JTA Education Conference 2017 was convened from April 18th to the 20th under the theme Connecting the Dots, Revolutionizing Educational Practices for the 21st Century. Simone Golding reporting for TVJ News.
A critical life-saving machine has been donated to the Spanish Town Hospital, which continues to struggle with a shortage of resources. The Social Development Commission SDC made the donation from proceeds of an Emancipation 5K Freedom Walk held last August. The walk was the collaborative effort of state agencies and service providers called the St. Catherine Agency Network, or SCAN.
That is used for all age groups. There will be newborns who will have mucus in their throats and they won't be able to breathe, and this machine will be able to save their lives. I actually have a friend who recently spoke to the fact and was able to testify that his daughter is alive today because of a machine like this.
It allows for proper clearing of airway passage for persons who have issues with breathing that may be caused due to a lot of membrane in the mouth or in the throat that would hinder breathing.
The SDC parish manager said the hospital had listed 3 other critical equipment which are urgently needed at the facility. While urging more corporate sponsors to help, he promised to give additional assistance to the hospital and other needy sectors.
We see where there is a need for support in education, basic schools, elementary, therefore. and of course businesses as well. One of our strongest push in the SDC right now is local economic initiatives, local economic businesses.
Time now for our fact or fiction feature. We ask, is this a fact or fiction? In 2003, Jermaine Mason broke the Jamaican national record 5 times before going to the World Championships in Paris. And we'll tell you the answer to that at the end of the sports segment of the newscast. Now to news in sports. Last season, Montego Bay United asked for respect, but this season, they are asking for their money. The Red Stripe Premier League title holders are complaining that since the start of the season, they are yet to be rewarded with any monthly disbursement from the Premier League Clubs Association.
Before the start of the season, Montego Bay United stated they were pulling out of the PLCA but would remain a part of the league. Not only was the PLCA taken aback, but the Professional Football Association of Jamaica, the PFAJ, as well.
We don't think it makes sense for one club, any club, to try to remove itself from the PLCA. But they felt strongly enough to tell us that they had sufficient concerns to want to remove themselves from the PLCA.
But after legal consultations by the PFAJ, it was discovered that Montego Bay United must remain a part of the PLCA to play in the Premier League.
They believe that their intention to withdraw was not handled properly, and that they wanted to withdraw that letter of withdrawal from the PLC.
However, having played 8 months so far, the Montegonians are yet to get any monthly remuneration from the PLCA.
I don't think we can continue, or people expect us to continue to give that value and not get something in return.
But the PLCA Vice Chairman Carvel Stewart says Montego Bay United is not entitled to any monthly drawdown.
Let me tell you this, the letter that said they withdrew had 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph said, we withdraw with immediate effect. The second paragraph said, and here I paraphrase, don't do nothing for we. So how come you want something now?
The question is Montego Bay United entitled to any monthly remuneration?
For all intents and purposes, they are a part of the league. Besides which, we have a letter from them which says we want to be part of the league. So, as far as the PFAJ is concerned, the club is a part of the PLC. And they have continued to play in the Premier League, and from the legal perspective, they are a part of the PLC.
Mobay United will play Arnott's Gardens on Sunday in the first leg of the home and away playoff to see who will advance to the semi-finals. Karen Madden, TVJ Sports.
And finally this afternoon, the answer to our fact or fiction feature. We asked, fact or fiction? In 2003, Jermaine Mason broke the Jamaican national record 5 times before going to the World Championships in Paris. And it's a fact. He broke the Jamaican national record once indoor and 4 times outdoor. The high jumper later went to the World Championships in Paris, where he placed 5th. The Jamaican record holder at 2.34 meters won bronze at the World 2004 Indoor Championships before migrating to the UK, which he's been representing internationally since 2005. And Jermaine Mason died yesterday in a motorcycle accident. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us for primetime news at 7. On behalf of our news, sports and production teams, good afternoon and have a great weekend.